All right, welcome everybody listening from all around the world, all around this beautiful blue-green planet we call Gaia. Welcome everybody here listening in Australia, this beautiful country of ours. Welcome to the Mystic Drop, where each week we try and journey down the road less traveled by, as the great Robert Frost once poetically put. I'm your host, Roberto Roya. Joining me today is Carolyn Molnar. Carolyn is a worldwide renowned psychic and medium. She utilizes over 30 years of experience of psychic training to coach and instruct others to tap in and utilize their inherent intuitive abilities. Carolyn is the author of It Is Time, Knowledge from the Other Side, and Compassionate Messenger, True Stories from a Psychic Medium. And I'm honored to have on the show Carolyn Molnar. How you going, Carolyn?
I'm doing well, thanks, Roberto. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for asking. I'm so honored to have you on. As I said before, I've been following your work for a while, and it's a real honor and pleasure to have you on. And you're doing such important work, especially in this time of history.
It is unprecedented time.
Yes.
And I guess that's why you and I were born at this time, so we could help others,
Exactly.
See past the darkness and into the light.
Yes, that's right. And keep uplifting humanity to where we truly belong.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Now, before we get started, we've got a first-time guest incantation that I'd like to share with you for your first-time guest here. And it goes like this. We are two cosmic spiritual beings sitting around the campfire. Two drops of light from the Great Spirit. Truth is our path, and wisdom is our teacher. We start with a salute, and now let our magic flow. All right, let's kick this off. So please share with us how the incredible journey started for you in the spirit realm and how you got involved.
Well, there's two parts to it. I was born this way, and in my family, it's very well accepted. Both my mother and father have experiences and genetic predisposition to it. My mother's family was one to have seances in the dining room, and one of their medium was a trumpet medium by the name of Jenny Wilder, who was the medium for one of our prime ministers here in Canada. So it starts with that. And then on the other side, my dad's family are Irish and believe in the spirit realm quite readily, part of their DNA. So I used to say things, and my mother would say, "Oh, Carolyn, what are you saying that for?" And it would come true. But I would say to her, "Mom, if you don't want to hear, don't ask." I was so certain that what I was being given needed to be shared. So I grew up in a family that was very accepting of the work, except when my mom didn't want to hear what she heard from me. But fast forward it to, I think, around age 20, when I was had a reading with one of my sisters, and it was horrific. It was one of those frightening, scary things that I was having tunnel vision, and it was given by a very respected medium who worked with the police. So my sister thought that this would be a great experience. Well, for me, it wasn't. And I remember saying, "Retail therapy, I got to get grounded here." And I remember holding up a set of sheets in a department store and saying, instead of saying I need to find a set of standard size sheets, I said, "I need to find a medium." And I'm thinking, where did that come from? And the first person I thought of was my dad. And I called him and I said, "Dad, this is what's happened. Can you help me?" And he said, "Yeah, I can help you. I'll take you to my psychic." And I went, "My psychic? You have a psychic?" He goes, "Yeah, I've been seeing her for a while." Long story short, I met her first time, burst into tears. She took my hands and she said, "Carolyn, let's start again." And from then on, for the next 20 years, she trained me in what she knew as mediumship through the Spirituals Church. And it was I'd say soon after her passing, I was just catapulted into this work full time, kicking and screaming all the way, because I was an office administrator. I did that for vice presidents and presidents, very left brain. And, this was on the side. I did it for friends. But I think I know Spirit had a different story for me. So that's how it started. And I knew that all my contracts were completed. And the only thing left that I knew I could do was read for people. And that's how it started. It wasn't a conscious decision.
It's so interesting that I've spoken to a few other mediums, and they've all said the same thing, that there's this other force that comes in and guides you to where you are now. It's so
I think
interesting.
the guides and angels around us who are assigned to us, and like, okay, Carolyn, get off that track. You're onto this one now. This is what you wrote in. So and I'm forever grateful, because my work really changed when I really said and meant I'm here to serve. And I just felt my heart opening up, like that kind of feeling when I thought this is what I needed to jump into the next stage. And I've never looked back since. They've taken care of me every step of the way. I am just forever grateful.
Oh, that's beautiful to hear. It really is. And you deserve it. You deserve it for what you're doing, and I'm sure they're there every step of the way with you on your
yes,
journey.
they are.
Through your connection and journey with spirit, with the spirit realm, this is going into, I'm just jumping straight in the deep end with you. If you had to describe it, what is God, or as I love to call it, the Great Spirit, and how did it come to be?
So you're talking about the infinite intelligence? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
So it always has been.
Yeah.
It's not male or female, it's energy.
Yeah.
And our journey was from that source out to where we are now, learning and perfecting our soul.
Yep.
And as we do, it's all registered back to source. So as we're perfecting, it's further perfecting.
Yep.
And our ultimate goal is to go back to where we came. So in order for us to do that, we're here to learn, we're here to help and serve, understanding what's in the best interest for your soul progression as well as others. And I feel that we have to put an identity on this source because we're human.
Yeah.
And that's how we understand it. But the identity is so huge and so beyond our scope of understanding that I can't really put any words into it except to say it's energy, and that's where we came from. Yeah.
I've always thought the same, and I think it's like, as you said, it's our mind that's trying to put it into a nice little box, and I've always thought, like, it's always been there, but our mind is like, it can't always be. Something had to create it. And I think it's so much more happening that our mind just can't comprehend it.
Well, when we look at the evolution of the planet, things happen. Like, let's go back to the amoeba stage and the water world and all that stuff, not the human, that's far too complicated, but it started somehow.
Yeah.
And, it started from that small space. But because we're a finite being, we have a birth and we have a death, it's hard for us to understand infinity in its truest sense.
Yep.
So I think we're incapable of getting the entire picture.
Yeah.
Not until we go home will we get a better understanding.
Yeah, exactly. It's I've always thought that when we go home, it's like that, of course moment that we'll have again.
Yes.
People have spoken about different levels in the afterlife. Can you unpack that?
I will try.
Yeah. from
Now,
from your
understand,
own
Roberto,
experience.
this is what I've learned from spirit. So if it
Yeah,
doesn't fit your understanding, just discard it. It's, I'm not here to try and coerce you into something that doesn't feel right. Always go with your own intuition.
yeah,
But I remember saying to my mentor, why is it that I see heaven as a ladder? And she said, well, my understanding is that there are 7 levels, and each level is attained through soul progression.
yeah,
Most of us here on the planet are a 3 or a 4, which is fine. And through our progression, we move into a higher vibrational being, which you would know as your guides and angels.
yeah.
Your guardians, which are your family, are not there yet. They have to have millennia of experience in order to attain the title guide. And then you've got the ascended masters, that some of them have been here, the archangels as well.
Yeah.
We have a concept of who they are. They're in the 6s and 7s, and some of the, the Mahatma Gandhis and the Martin Luther Kings and, the Mother Teresa's. They're higher up because of what they have done to help the planet progress in the form of service. So there's no, you can't accelerate like in here. You can't go from grade 3 to grade 7. You have to go step by step by step. The reason, and the other thing too, they're reminding me is higher levels can come into the lower levels, but the lower levels can't come up because of the vibration level. It's not because you're good or you're bad. You just can't manage it. It would be like you looking into the sun in a higher level. It would just burn you up, or getting closer to the sun would burn you up. But as your vibration level changes in your soul, you will be able to aspire to that energy. Now, I have to say, I had a Reiki attunement years ago, not to do Reiki so much, but to reattune my energy so that I could do this work with more clarity. And I had an experience where I had 7 people in the room witnessing it. And there was a light that came in that was so bright. With my eyes closed, I had to put my hands over my eyes.
Oh.
And I said to everybody else after, did you see the light that came in? And they went, no. It was so brilliant. And I think that is an expression of why I can't be in those realms, because it's just too harsh on my eyes, my vibration level, everything. I have to, I guess, earn it. So that's what I understand.
Do you think from that experience that maybe that light was coming in early just to fine tune your own spirit to get you ready for when you progress to that level?
Yeah, I also think there was a protective energy around it too, making sure that everything was right.
Yep.
It didn't last very long, but it was something that I've never forgotten.
Yeah, it would have stayed with you for ages. That's such a powerful experience.
It is. And
especially you had your eyes closed and you had to put your hands over your eyes.
I was like this with my eyes closed, and it was highly unexpected.
That's amazing.
So that's what makes it mystical, when you don't expect it and it happens.
Yeah, I've always believed when in terms of reincarnation, and a lot of people think that we just reincarnate into this world and that's it. But I've always believed, I think, that we incarnate into other worlds and other universes and other dimensions. Have you had stories from people that you've spoken along the way that have opened up in that sense?
Oh, lots. There are all kinds of worlds providing all kinds of opportunities to progress the soul. This earth that we're on is one of the hardest schools because we're a blind planet. We don't have a spiritual, and I'm talking otherworldly spiritual leaders. We have to work with faith, trust, and belief, which is intangibles. And we have to, be our own guide, which it's really difficult. It's an accelerated experience. And a lot of us choose that because we want to progress our soul faster, but be careful what you ask for. Now, there are other people that I have met as clients who are young souls, and they're the ones that are having troubles just coping with how the planet works, like, um, just daily stuff like work or relationships I'm not talking intimate relationships. It could be relationships with friends, family, that kind of thing. They just have a hard time trying to figure it all out. And then I have other people who have talked about, in regression. Now, I don't do regression, but I've heard stories about regression where they're talking about water planets and being on them and being more comfortable with that, and how some of them really relate to our water animals and mammals like dolphins and whales and stuff like that, more so than they do humans. So, you know what? I just don't believe that we have one kick at the can and it's just so finite with one world that, I just think that that's really very limiting to what our soul could possibly comprehend and learn. So I do believe in many worlds. And I mean, I'm not going to go into this one, but it kind of explains ETs, right?
Exactly. Well, that's a whole different ballgame. Yeah.
And again, I am not an expert on that. I'm fascinated by it, but I really don't want to comment on it. But that also brings into, well, where are they from?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of and meaning of reincarnation to you?
Oh, it's going to the next grade. It's like going from grade 1 to grade 2, hopefully not grade 2 to grade 1. You're hopefully progressing forward. But, say, for instance, you don't get all your contract completed through various reasons. You leave the planet early through accident, suicide, or passing, and you can't, or, natural passing. So you can't get it done. So that's rewritten into the next one because you did promise and it is a contract. So, they will use that portion plus whatever else they want to accomplish in the next life. I mean, you go to school, you don't get it in kindergarten.
Yeah.
You go to grade 12, hopefully minimally. And then if you want, you've got your bachelor's, master's, and PhD if you decide to go further. So I think it's the same kind of thing. You don't learn everything in kindergarten.
No, exactly. Yeah, you got to do the rounds, and sometimes even repeat some of those classes as well.
Yes, if you didn't get it the first time. Yeah, karma is awful. Just do right by people, serve as best as you can, be kind, and use your heart in everything that you decide on, and you'll be fine.
That's right. I've heard there on the other side, there's libraries that contain all the information. They call it the Akashic records.
Yes.
What's your experience with that?
I actually had a dream with the Akashic Record Hall, and this was mine. I mean, it may be different for other people, but it was a huge hall, and it looked like, the Colosseum in Italy with the rounded kind of whatever, holes, windows around the whole thing. And in each of those were massive amounts of drawers. And I had gone into this humongous space. I mean, it was like football fields, and it was all black and white tile, all checkerboard. And there was like this rounded chair with a very tall post at the top, all kind of cushioned. And there was this, it sounds very cliche, but there was this white robed, white beard, gentle man who said, "Please sit down," and then brought the scroll to me. And, the proverbial, it just falls from the scroll and it goes on and on and on. Well, all of that is your lives all recorded. Everything's recorded. And I don't know, maybe in my dreams, I needed to have a look at something and readjust to what's going on in my life at the time. I don't know, but nothing is ever lost. Everything is kept. And that's what's used to help you create your next contract in your next life. If you decide to come here, you can stay over there, but it takes longer for you to accomplish things.
Yeah.
Over here, it's an accelerated experience. So yes, I've seen them. I've had a tremendous experience with Akashic record readers who are trained. I cannot read them. I haven't been trained, but I've had several done by one in, with a time period in between. And every time she said the same thing.
Wow.
Like she got the same information. So I was thinking, okay, that's proof for me. Yeah. So, and they cannot read anybody's records but yours. So you can't go in and say, I want to know about my husband's record.
Yep.
Won't be done.
Yep. Only for yourself.
Only for yourself. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. And I've always thought that it's not like actual like books in a library. I've always thought it's like spirit language, whatever that is, like symbols or that they communicate with you. Is that correct?
It's however way they can get the information to you. If you love symbols, they'll go for that. It's like when I'm doing my mediumship work or my psychic development or psychic work, the spirit will speak to me, whether it's my guides or the spirit person will give me the way I can best convey it to the client. Yeah. So sometimes they'll show me stuff. Sometimes I'll hear it. Sometimes I'll sense it. Sometimes I'll taste things. Sometimes I'll smell things. They will give it to you as you can easily receive it. And that's the beauty of the spirit world, is they get that. It's not, a finite, narrow way of communicating. It's all encompassing. Infinite
possibilities.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so interesting. Going back to what you were talking about, angels and non-human intelligences, what miracles have you come across, not only in your own life, but through other stories that you've heard along the way of these beings actually, lowering their vibration to come in and save the day, if you want to call it?
For me, it's a daily occurrence, not every day, but sort of I'll give you an example. So I was going to buy a new car, and a model that I wanted was very hard to find because there had been a flood with the manufacturing of it in that particular year. So the fella said, if I can get a car for you, you've got to come in right away, take a look, and decide immediately, because I've got like 10 other people looking for the same car. He says, I'm just not feeling it. You're going to have good luck with this. 2 days later, he calls, get in here. I've got a car for you. So I hustled in, and it still had the plastic on the seats. It had 95 kilometers on the odometer. And I got in the seat to drive. My husband was with me, and the sales rep was behind me, and he goes, oh my gosh, there's a dime in this car. And I went, that's it, that's my car. Because when I have dimes arrive in weird places, that's a sign from spirit. To me, that's a miracle.
Yeah.
I had an issue where I had to go to hospital for a procedure, and I was a little wigged out about it. I'm about to leave the house, and there's a dime on the floor. I went, oh my God, you guys, okay, I know you're with me. Everything's going to be fine. So it's those little, huge incidences that surround me. I also hear music where, I'll be reminded of spirit people. It's very rare that they will whoosh in to save the day, because they also have to go with your free will.
Yeah.
And all they can say is, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing this, and you decide to do it, and you have the consequence. It's not up to them to come and save you. Yeah. Their job was already guiding you, but your free will decided elsewhere. So I think of my experience with my mentor at her passing. I was the last person to see her. I was driven to see her. I had to, I was like, I got to get to see Sadie. And I drove like an hour and a half to see her. She gave me a reading on her deathbed.
Oh, wow.
To me, that was a miracle. Yeah. About my children, about my life going forward. And I remember her saying, Carolyn, you got to get here, because I'm learning a lot about death. and I need to tell you. And then her son came in the room, and then she passed away. So that was another thing too. But at her funeral, oh, sorry, before her funeral, I was asked to do the eulogy. She sat with me at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I typed out her eulogy for her. No spelling mistakes, no grammar mistakes. I just asked her to add one paragraph because she forgot somebody and she wasn't happy about it. But I said, I'm not going to do it without this. People came up to me later and said, how do you know her so well? She was so private. And I thought, if you only knew. And she was introducing me to people at the wake. Like, okay, this is so-and-so. And I shake their hand and say their name. And they're like, how does she know?
So she was
me?
there with you. What?
Oh gosh, she's still
Yeah.
here. She's probably,
Yeah.
My students say, I
Wow.
see people who can see her are saying, she's standing right behind you, Carolyn. I said, yeah, because she's the teacher and she wants to make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my life is just that way because I've opened it up to the spirit world. I have full trust in their love, their light and their energy. So here's another miracle. I don't know whether you can see it or not. These are, let me bring it up here. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an infinity sign, isn't it?
Yeah. They're called lovers loops. This is a wedding gift from a spirit.
Right.
I went to a physical mediumship seance in England, and the spirit was upset at me. He's Canadian. And he said, I hear you're getting married, Mom. And I said, yes, I am. I said, as a matter of fact, my fiance is here too. And so he had a little conversation with my fiance and he says, I have a gift for you. So in the middle of the seance, you hear these electric ties, the ties that when you pull them, they don't undo.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call them. You hear this and then another one. And those things were created. And he said, this is my wedding gift to you. So to me, that's a miracle. Wow. And that's why I have it in my office to remind me that there are such things as miracles. Because there are days when I think, what the heck am I doing here? I can't touch this stuff. I can't, it's etheric.
Yeah, exactly.
And
there you go. It's manifesting as physical.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are a lot of miracles that happen daily, if not weekly. Yeah. How about you, Roberto? Do you get these kinds of things? I'm going to throw it back to you now.
I've had I've had certain experiences along the way where you just can't explain it, you know what I mean? And things happen, and spirit's there, and someone's looking over you, and I'm just trying to think of a specific one that's happened along the way.
I have a sense around your new one.
Sorry?
I have a sense around your new little one in your life.
Yes. Oh, she's a miracle. She's an absolute miracle. Well, I think actually, yes. Well, how me and my partner met. We shouldn't have met. Like that night we met, it felt like there were forces at play of how we interacted with each other. I was out with my friends on my birthday, my 29th birthday, having a good time, having a few drinks here and there. And I haven't shared this publicly, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's all right. And we were at the bar, and she wasn't supposed. She had organized another date for that night, but he cancelled. So she was going to stay. She was going to stay home. She had a friend at the bar who invited her out, and yeah, my other friend said, hey, there's these two girls at the bar. Go say hello. And just instinctively, I just dropped everything and just went straight there and talked to her. And after a while, like once we got to know each other a bit, she was like, I was going back to Czech Republic. That was it for me in Australia. I shouldn't have been here. You know what I mean? And
wow, that is a miracle.
Such an amazing coincidences and synchronicities that happened along the way, and we met and had our beautiful baby girl together.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk about synchronicities and coincidences, because it's a left brain miracle,
Yep.
or sorry, a right brain miracle, the left brain comes in to make it logical. Oh,
Yeah.
well, this happened because of, no, then you've missed the whole point of it being a miracle. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And if you look at life through your right brain, you will see miracles daily.
Oh,
How about a green light day where you hit every green light going to work, right?
oh, exactly.
That to me
Yeah,
is a miracle.
exactly. That's right. Yeah, and then you have other days it's all red. I guess.
Yeah, because you know what? You have to make up, it's balance. You got to make up for all the green lights, right? You know what I'm saying? It's all balance.
Yeah, 100%. What's this one here? What is the meaning of life to you? Like what is, how does one obtain like full happiness? And well, I don't know about full happiness, because this is, as you said, it's this earth plane is a very difficult one, but how does one find the balance in life and find that meaning of life within themselves?
It's outlook. It's how you see things. So, and as I said before, it's all about balance. So when you receive a challenge, oftentimes it's a repeat. It's the same kind of challenge, just with different people on a different day.
Yep.
Recognize it, use the same technique you used before or better.
Yep.
To undo this loop.
Yeah.
And you'll find that if you learn rather than push away, the challenge becomes easier because you'll know what to do with it, or it's like been there, done that, not even going there.
Yeah.
So there's that. I found that when I can see somebody's other side of the story and understand get a better understanding of why they do what they do, I'm just much more at peace. Because our biggest disappointment is when somebody doesn't do what we expect them to do. Right?
Yeah.
So you have to get past the expectations and just be with it. Also, service, helping others. Get it off of me, and it's us, it's we.
Yeah.
And understanding the importance in that goes a long way. I'll give you an example, and it's just a little story, but I'm at this particular cashier I see every week because it's the grocery store, and you're doing your weekly shop, and I always have something, hi, how are you? It's so nice to see you. And and she turned to me one day and she said, you know what? In the entire day that I worked, you're the only one that said something nice to me.
Oh, wow.
I'm thinking to myself, all you need to do is smile and say hello.
So
That's
simple.
it.
It's so simple, isn't it?
Yeah, it is simple. Don't, humans make things complicated. Don't make it complicated.
Exactly.
Just, simple. Just when you're happy within yourself, you push it out.
Yeah.
And you attract that authentic happiness to you.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you think that when we incarnate, the memories are blocked from the other side, but then when we go back home, it's all opened up again? What's the process in that?
It gives you, it doesn't give you an advantage. It gives you a clean slate. Right. So it's like a clean piece of paper, and you get to draw again.
Yeah.
That's basically how I see it. And don't worry, we do remember everything when we go back. What the worst thing is? Regrets when you're over there. Not living a full life or taking advantage of the opportunities to progress. Oh no, I got to do this again. That kind of thing. Yeah.
What are your inspirations? So who or what are your inspirations in this life?
There were two ladies that shaped my world. One is Sadie, who was my mentor for 20 years and continues to be. So I guess it's about Now it's 30 years because she's still with me. And another woman by the name of Liz White, who was instrumental in helping me be a good person, basically. So yeah, those are the two people. I had inspirations outside of my wheelhouse, and I adored them. I won't give you their names, but they both passed very young and very tragically. And for me, it was such a waste of possibilities. It really made me wake up.
Yeah.
It really did. To what's important, and that is just do your work and get on with your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't put it out there.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, don't put it on somebody else.
Yeah.
No, just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you had the opportunity to sit down with the Great Spirit, like we're doing now, what sort of questions would you ask, and what sort of conversation would you have?
Okay, I don't want this to sound arrogant, really, but I'm with that all the time.
Yep.
My prayers include that energy.
Yep.
Daily.
Yep.
I feel I walk in that light.
Yep.
So I don't want anything from it. I just want to do good by it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
and I'll tell you, that's a very personal question. I have never said that on the record before, because that is something that everybody has to walk with differently.
Yeah.
And what they're most comfortable with.
Yeah, and like I say in the incantation right at the beginning, we are 2 drops of light from the Great Spirit, all experiencing itself in our own way.
So look at everybody else as the same, and then you may see through different eyes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what we need more of, especially on this planet.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. Why do we dream?
Oh, we go home 3 to 5 times a week just to get a rest. and remember when I was saying I went back over there to read my Akashics to get a better sense of where I am on the planet and what I need to do further. And also too, we meet up with our spirit loved ones. So, those dreams where you think, oh my God, it was so real. Like I was talking to that person. Well, you actually were. You were in this dream state going home. I remember having a dream with my mentor, Sadie. And I said, Sadie, why am I talking to you? You're dead. And then boop, that was the end of the dream. It was over. I was like, oh man. But that's one of the other reasons that we, to reconnect with our loved ones. And I'll say one thing from a mediumship standpoint, there are a lot more dreams at the beginning of the time of their, like after they've passed. Like within the first year, you'll get maybe 3 or 4 of them that are so lucid and so vivid that you think I was there. And then they become less and less. And a lot of my clients get quite sad about that. They've forgotten me, they don't want to be with me anymore. No, they're in your conscious state now. Those thoughts in your head that sound like your dad, or, those that music, or, you feel you're compelled to make something because it reminds you of your mother. Those are all things that are being influenced by your spirit loved ones, and they get to a better place where they can use telepathy, their language, to speak with us, whether it's thought, all 5 senses, So the dream state is just that, more learning, rest, and reconnecting with our loved ones in spirit.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned music before. Going back to the question of miracles, it just came into my mind now. And you mentioned my daughter. So when she was first born, well, just before she was born, we were in the hospital, the Gold Coast Hospital. My old man was from Napoli in Italy, and growing up, he would always play, the Napolitan music and everything. And there was a certain song that always stuck with me since his passing. And the day before she was born, we were in the hospital. I went to the bathroom, and how they've got that, that elevator music that's going on in the background. Yeah. and on a piano melody, without words, nothing, it was just this melody. It was playing, and I started humming to it. And it was one of my dad's songs that he used to play when I was a little kid from Napoli. So it was like him saying, "Yep, I'm here. This is your time, and I'm here to usher in your beautiful little girl, my granddaughter, my niece."
And I'll be there with her. I'll be her guardian.
Yeah,
And I will love her from here. And you know, there's another daily miracle.
exactly.
If we didn't recognize how miracles are given,
Yeah.
we would. Now I'll tell you, I do have on my YouTube channel a playlist called Signs from Spirit. So if your listeners and viewers are interested in finding out how to notice them, because they're so subtle.
Yeah.
Look, and there are about 12 little clips, about 3 minutes each. You'll create a laundry list of all the things you can watch for.
Yeah. One of the questions from my fiance, she wanted to ask, and I said I'd put this in, is what are the signs that we can look out for when spirit is around?
Okay, so I will say directly to your fiance, take a look at my YouTube channel, but I'll give you a few because I'm sure I can't cover them all.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful that I have a playlist like this. It was inspired by spirit to do this. So as we are progressing into the Aquarian age of Aquarius,
Yep.
we'll become more adept at connecting. Dimes everywhere. Anywhere where it's weird, like you vacuum and almost, wait a minute, I just vacuumed and there's a dime on the floor. Sound like music, we were talking about that. Sometimes I get a scent, like I know if I smell a certain scent, it's of aftershave, it's my father, and nobody wears that anymore, not in this household. What's the other thing? I'll get a picture in my head, like active imagination, and I'll just recognize that whomever I'm seeing is who's getting in touch with me through telepathy. Let me think, what else? I know that if I get stuck with something to cook, my aunt will come in and give me information. So I know that, you know, certain things that I'll cook that are kind of bizarre for what I want to make are from her. Messages in my head, you know, like pick up bread before you get home, or, you you got a flat tire, make sure you get that checked, this kind of thing. But I tell you, there are far more on, butterflies, birds. They don't become the animals, but they impress the animals. Watch your pets. They can, especially if they look up into the corner and look up, it's usually that's where spirit congregates because it can hold the energy better.
Yep.
I know some spouses whose deceased spouse has come and cuddled up with them and energetically feel it down the back. Spirit hugs, which are the goosebumps down the back, or sorry, back of arms or up your back. Those are from spirit, that kind of thing. So there are lots more.
Yeah, so I'll tell her to have a look at the channel as well.
Yeah, please. Here's another one. That you feel sometimes something running through your hair.
Yep.
That's
and sometimes the ears as well, like a blow past the ears. Yeah.
Or a tug.
Yeah, or a little tug. Yeah. I think she said she's felt that before.
But I will say this: your spirit loved ones will not be there to have a full-on apparition. They just, it's too energetically difficult, and also they don't want to scare you. So they'll do something subtle to let you know, I'm here, I love you, I'm not going to scare you. In the 40 years that I've done this work, I've had 2 apparitions, and one was somebody who was still alive.
Wow.
Yeah, that's called astral projection, and I told him to cut it out. He says, I didn't even know I did. I was sleeping.
Yeah, wow. It's amazing what we can do. I've always said, like, one day when we evolve to that higher level, like we won't need spaceships to go to the stars. We can do it in ourselves, and I think it's spiritual technology that we're yet to gain.
Well, there's a theory when you watch ET, like UFOs, how they move around so quickly like that, and they're all in formation. They're saying they feel it's propelled by thought.
Wow.
So it's thought that creates the movement. Now it's only theory, but I'm thinking if they've evolved to that point, why can't we? We just have to keep moving ahead.
Exactly. That's right. And I think we'll get there. We'll get there. And that's the journey that we're on as a human race altogether.
Yes.
If you could teach the world one concept, what would it be?
Love.
Beautiful answer. Simple, beautiful answer. Can you unpack that a little bit?
It involves tolerance, compassion, understanding, patience, lots of patience, and understanding that everything is for a higher purpose that we may not understand in the moment. I'll give you an example. This is a really like everyday example.
Yep.
But people say, you know, I manifested this and our asked for this, it never came. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, do you have any idea how hard it would be for spirit to put everything in place? Let me give you an example. And I give this example all the time. I wanted to go to 3 places at a very, very busy street. And I needed 3 parking spots because I had to unload a lot of stuff to these 3 different places. I didn't ask as I was going. I asked like 2 days prior, saying, could you please help me out? It would be really helpful if you could just make some spots available for me. And I got all 3 spots. So what they say to me is, yeah, it's just a parking spot, but we have to also get the person to time their visit to wherever they are back to the car so that they move their car out to get you in.
Yeah.
We have to time the lights in order for you or get you on the highway at the right time in order for all that to synchronistically happen. So
There's
we
so
have
much more
no
to it.
idea what it takes with our asking.
Yeah.
So when it does happen, say thank you.
Yeah. And be
You know?
grateful. Be
Very
totally
grateful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first thing I say when I start my prayers at night is thank you for this day. Even if it was lousy, I've had a headache all day, but thank you for this day because I'm still here. Right. Yeah. Be grateful. But it comes from a place of love. And don't think you're going to be perfect. Listen, I have my days. I'm driving on the highway. The air in the car is blue because of all the crazy that's going on the streets. I'm not perfect, but I try to bring myself back to, maybe they're having a hard day. Maybe they have to get to the hospital.
Yeah.
Maybe they just had a fight with somebody and they're really upset. Leave them alone, let them go, that kind of thing.
I'm sure you get this question a lot. Why is there so much poverty and, suffering in this world?
And this is a tough one to answer because this is not a human answer. This has come from spirit who has no emotions and can see the bigger picture beyond birth and death.
Yeah.
We choose difficult lives to progress our soul.
Yeah.
You see some people coming out of poverty to be great leaders.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
All through free will. You see disabled people doing amazing things through and with their disability to make the place better.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds trite. I'm making it too simple for what it is. If you can get past the human emotion and understand that we are here to progress, and some of us, through our own free will, have decided to put components in that make life more difficult to allow for faster and more often progression. This is how this can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing too, I'm being reminded of, because they're talking to me, is karma. So say, for instance, you have been a ruler who has been, not the greatest, and has no compassion or love of their people, may be put into a position to see the opposite side, to see the function of their behavior.
Yeah.
All not for punishment, but for progression.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, 100%. I get it. I get it. Totally get it. And so when we pass and go home, what's life like over on the other side?
Well, I have to smile because Sadie says there's no dust because she hated dusting. And she says, you create the dwelling you will live in by the good deeds that you do here on the planet.
Yeah.
I just had a recent reading from a gentleman who passed to spirit from a motorbike, dirt bike accident. And what he did was he created the dirt bike track, and he was racing it with no helmet and full on throttle, hitting the moguls at full speed. And he said, I haven't been able to do that for years. I'm doing it now. So, you know, initially we create a place where we are most comfortable,
Yep.
most of us, not all of us. And then in time, we start to review our life here on the planet, what we've done well, what we need to learn from, what we need to change, and then start recreating a new contract if we decide to reincarnate. And we also wait for our loved ones.
Yeah.
So we wait for our soul group to come back. And I've been told it's about a 200-year span of time.
Oh.
They don't leave us unless they want to get back into the soul group before all of you go home.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you don't lose your loved ones going into spirit. You lose this, my chiropractor calls a meat suit. You lose this, but not the soul. You have the connection of relationship, and you're met by your loved ones who have passed before you. And there's a huge celebration.
Yeah. I've always said that like being born is a celebration, and you know, here for people here, but then when you die, it's a tragedy. But on the other side, it's opposite. When you're born, it's a tragedy because the spirit world is losing them, and then when you die to come back home, it's a celebration. So it's really interesting how that works as well.
Well, that's why I think babies cry. They, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? You know, I'm here.
Exactly. Yeah, they've gone, why the hell am I back here again when it's so beautiful over there?
And here's another thing about death I've noticed is that some people who are close to passing will actually choose to pass on their own. They're not alone, but they pass on their own because they're seeing where they're going, and they don't want to be making the people around them sadder than they are.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of family members that feel guilty. Why didn't I stay another 5 minutes? I said, no, he was waiting for you to leave.
Oh,
so
wow.
He could just find a clear path home.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, depending on the person as well, whether they want to do that or not.
Well, yeah, it's got to do with their personality and their wishes and desires, and some will do that and some will not. Free will.
Where are you at in your own spiritual pilgrimage?
A long way to go. I'll never get there while I'm here. Anybody who thinks that they get here is sadly mistaken, because they'll have another challenge coming at them to get them out of that thought process. It's a progressive, long-term thing. I know I've been told, I was told I wanted to come back here at this time, witnessing, transformational planetary experience with this pandemic, among other things. So it's a progression. I have no idea where I'm at. I certainly wish I was further along than I am, but here I am. This is it. And I'll work with what I've got. So I'll just keep doing the work, the readings, and I do teach psychic development and mediumship. And that's starting in the next week. And I can't really see a lot of people at this time because of being, trying to stay here and keep safe and healthy.
Yeah.
So I'll work with what I have.
Yeah, that's it. Well, this ties in as well. What periods of history, if you had a time machine, would you like to go back to?
Never. I wouldn't go back.
No.
No. Mm-mm.
Are there certain like parts of history that you connect with?
Not really. No.
Wow.
No.
Okay. Do you think in your own soul that you've had lives, in other parts of history on this planet, or do you think you've
Yes.
come from
I have
another realm?
both, but
Oh,
I've had history here too.
yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting answer. That's a really interesting answer. Wow. What's the different, like, for this question? I always look at, this was recently a few months ago. I saw a picture of, it was the ocean, and there was a fishbowl in the ocean, and there was a fish inside the fishbowl, but still connected to the ocean. And then there was a fish outside of the ocean, and in the fishbowl it said religion, and in the ocean, the fish that was free, it said spirituality. What's the difference between religion and spirituality, in your opinion?
Spirituality is the umbrella. Religion is an aspect, a human aspect, an explanation of something so much bigger than we could possibly understand. So if you imagine an umbrella, each section could be, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, all the different religions. But if you look at all of them, there are two things that are shared. And one is that there is a higher power, whatever that is, and love. So we as humans need something that we can look at as the same, that we are connected with, and congregate around that, because we're gregarious people.
Yeah.
So religion gives people a sense of community and shared understanding.
Yeah.
I do agree with the fishbowl being religion and the fish out in the ocean being spirituality, because spirituality transcends human mores. Spirituality is about your soul and your soul progression and your connection with source.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. What sort of advice would you like to give to upcoming mediums and psychics that are thinking or trying to get into, I don't like to call it industry, but choose that path to walk down?
Be careful of your teachers.
Yep.
Come from a place of love and compassion. The dark arts have no space in this work. In other words, curses, no. We don't talk that way. We talk about empowerment and free will. Be very, very patient. This is not something that you will get in one workshop. It is a journey, and it starts with you saying yes, and it finishes when you go into the spirit world, unless you say no more. You can do a lot of damage if you're not properly trained and if you don't have the understanding. There's a lot of power in this work, and the whole idea is to encourage and give power back to the sitter rather than discourage and shut them down. So it's very, very, it takes, what's the word? A lot of responsibility. And let me tell you something, I know from my own experience that what goes around comes around. And that's not a threat. That's just a natural law. Just be very, very careful on your intention. What is your intention? Is it to help or is it to hurt?
Yeah. Yeah, very important. Very important.
It's all about ethics.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Because I think there'll be a few people listening that'll, thinking about going down this path, and I think they'll get a lot out of that.
I have to say one thing more, Roberto. On my website, I have like over 100 blogs that I've put in monthly.
Yep.
And the ones that are hit on the most are the psychic scam blogs. And I've had some really sad stories about people who have been bilked out of thousands and thousands of dollars because somebody said that they had a curse on them and for money they would lift it.
Oh, wow.
If anybody knows of anything like that, go to my website, read the blogs and get some insight on what you can do and how to stay away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because I think it's very important.
It is.
We're living through very, I think we're living through a lot of light at the moment, but there's a lot of shadows, being cast as well. What messages of hope would you like to give humanity?
Light always wins. If you have a dark room and you put a candle in that room, just one candle gets rid of the dark.
Yeah.
We unfortunately, because we are a balanced, well, that's not an unfortunate thing. We are a balanced community. Without dark, we wouldn't know light. Without light, we wouldn't know dark. So we have both. It's just the way this planet's been set up. Dark is being exposed more than it ever has been before. And that's because the light is exposing it. So let's just, it's like a roller coaster ride. We're now going down the hill and it's getting real scary, but we're going to be going back up shortly. So just stay in the light and just believe in everybody, a higher power and higher truth. And I do feel that in time, perhaps not in my lifetime, but in time, the light will be pervasive.
Have you had any insight, or spirit given you any insights of how far down the track, we're gonna be living in glory,
Oh, not my lifetime. So the age of Aquarius goes between 1950 and 2050. And it's also that transition period.
Yeah.
So, and I won't say we've hit it at 2050. We'll just have better insights then. It's a progressive, hopefully, like a snowball, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and brighter. But it takes time because this is a learning period. Here's the free will learning. Yeah. How are we going to attack? Perhaps that's a bad word. How are we going to manage something like a pandemic?
Yeah.
Is it about me or is it about we? Yeah. Here's your choice. You decide what you want to do. Nobody's going to tell you it's right or it's wrong. You'll know in time with your experience what works.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're all on the ride, and we're all part of it together.
Yeah, there's not one person that's left without. This pandemic has made us a global community.
Exactly. Yeah. And
I truly understand what that means.
And I believe that's why they've introduced, social distancing to try to keep us apart, because this is time when we all come together. And you could see it prior to the end of 2019 from around the world. People were coming together in droves and uplifting the energy of this earth and humanity into that frequency.
I'm going to give you a different take on it.
Yeah.
I don't think that we were really wanting to be together.
Right.
Before the pandemic, we wanted our own space. We wanted our own condo. We wanted our own, one person in a car, that kind of thing. And then that was taken away. Right. And we realized how important it was to come together.
Yeah.
Be together.
That's actually a spin on it.
So although we have to be apart to be safe, we can still be together. And I think something like this, I believe this is Zoom, has created a new way to be together. So, you know, there are various ways of taking this thing. I just hope we can get through this sooner than later.
Hey, and I
I
just
miss the hugs.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm part Italian, and you know, being affectionate is such a big thing. You know.
Mhm. Your
Uh,
elbow takes on a whole new meaning.
oh, yeah. Oh, I don't mind. I just get in there and give them a hug anyway, and try to be that light. Yeah. But yeah, no, we're going through it, and yeah, we'll see where we come out in the other end.
Yes.
Where can people go and find your work and support you as well?
Well, thank you. Everything's on my website, Carolyn Molnar, that's CarolynMolnar.com. My books and CDs are there. My blogs are there. You can contact me through the website. You can also book sessions on my website, and it's totally through the calendar. So take a look at that if you're interested. I also have a YouTube channel that have close to 400 clips on all things spiritual. There are actually questions from my viewers, whether it's Instagram or through email. And I encourage it. If it's a question that helps all, then I will post it. If it's something private, it would be better dealt with in a session. Let me see what else. I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. I'll put all the links down below so everyone can go and find you easily and support your work, because I think what you're doing is very important.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for everything and taking the time to be on the show. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it as well. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for finding me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think the Great Spirit brought me to you, and I've been following your work for a while, so very inspirational.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today. I am Roberto Roya from the Mystic Drop. You've just been listening to Carolyn Molnar. Thank you again, Carol. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very grateful. Thank you.